Next, we're looking at our pseudocode programming solution. So just to remind you, we are looking at programming question or problem to add two numbers. We already did our analysis. We also went through narrative, flowchart, and IPO chart. Now, we also looked at variable names and different commands for the different labels. So input had a read command, processing had a set command, output had a print command, storage didn't really. Now, pseudocode is very similar to what we did before, but it's more English-like, more English statements. So there's a little bit more to pseudocode. But let's do the easy parts. We know we have our inputs, number one, no space, number two. And we know that we have a command for each one of them. So let's get that there, right? And then we know we have a processing following my variable naming rules. Oops, take out the space. Right, there we go. And we know we have a command for processing, which is set. Put my space in there. There is another change for processing. In pseudocode processing, there's no equal sign. Instead, you use a backward arrow. Okay, so instead of an equal sign, we use a backward arrow. Next one we have is our output. I have to be careful with these variable names, right? Following the rules and make sure that it's the same name used throughout. So all of my programming solutions, narrative, flowchart, IPO chart, and pseudocode should all have the same variable names. Nothing should be different. Okay, so output, we have our answer variable name here, and the command for output was print. All right, so far this is straightforward. We learned this from the last time. The only difference here would have been the backward arrow for processing, right? No equal sign. Storage is next. Now storage I'm going to put up here. I'm just going to call it store, and it's the same thing that's in our analysis. Put commas in between our variable names. Okay. Next, we have to add a few more things to this. So pseudocode is a little bit more. I'm going to put a space in between there. And we have another command here called start algorithm. And if you have a start algorithm, at the end of everything, you should have a stop algorithm. So very similar to the flow chart, except in words. Now here's the thing. Anything between start and stop, you need to indent. So it means this cannot be all at the same, cannot start at the same line. Between start and stop, the statements in between start and stop move in a little bit, so they are indented. So that's actually a rule. I'm just going to write this here. This is just a rule. Right? Rule statements in between start and stop are indented. Okay, that's a rule. That's not part of the pseudocode. It's just a rule we need for pseudocode. Okay, so let's see. We have our storage, we have our start, we have our inputs, we have our processing, output, stop. All right, we're missing one more thing. At the beginning of this whole thing, we have an algorithm name. So we need to come up with a name that describes what the program is about. So what is this program about? It's about adding two numbers. So I'm going to put adding two numbers. But here's the thing. I cannot leave this name with all these spaces. The algorithm name has to follow variable rules. So I'm starting with a letter, good. I'm starting with a capital letter, good. Taking out this space, take out this next space, capital N, because you need to have a capital letter for the beginning of each word. And that's it. This here is our pseudocode programming solution. Okay, let me just go over it again. So now that we have the complete pseudocode, I'm going to go through it. First, we start with the word algorithm. It is a command. And notice that all the commands I wrote in capital letters, just to show the difference, right? To show that there is a command there. So we started with the word algorithm at the beginning, and then the name of the program, which follows variable rules, naming rules, and describes what the pseudocode program is about. Next, we look at storage. And in storage, it came straight from our analysis. We list all the variable names used in our program. Next, we have start algorithm. That's a command, start algorithm. Then we move into input. I had two inputs, so I listed them separately on different lines, and I put the command in front of each one, the read command for input. After that, on another line, we had our processing with the command set, and instead of an equal sign, we have a backward arrow. So it means that these number one and number two are added, and whatever value you get here, it's stored in the answer variable name here. Then we move to output. And output, we have our variable name answer, which was taken from processing, and the command print. Finally, we have stop algorithm, another command, which just ends the entire program. And we also followed the rule, which is in between start and stop, we indented. So all statements in between are indented. Pseudocode done. So just take your time, follow the steps, and really you should see that the analysis helps coming. Once you get that analysis, the rest of the answers, the solutions come to you. And they are very similar. All of them are very similar. The narrative, flowchart, IPO chart, pseudocode, they're very similar, but they all have their own set of rules that you need to follow. All right, let me see what you can do.